Welcome back to NeuroArkitect. My job here on this channel is to help guide you into your best mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual state. And today I am following up my last video with some new tips to help you with your habits. It is the second week of January, guys. How are you doing? How's everyone going? You know, even myself, to this day, I find that despite everything that I know, right, I still need to really work at it. Of course, we're always looking, every single one of us, we all have areas in our lives that we're looking to improve upon, that we're looking to develop, whether that be health related, whether that be fitness related, whether that be career related, our jobs and businesses. There's always certain things that we know we can improve upon. There's always certain things that we want to grow, expand on, new things we want to work on and create. Thing is, in order for these bigger goals to really materialize, for us to realize, then we have to make sure that we are creating the right foundations, right? The right daily habits. And part of that is really just getting super clear on what it is that we're doing, so that way we know exactly what kind of smaller daily habits we need to start to implement. Now, for some of us, that might be, of course, just more movement, more exercise. For others, it's, working on our nutrition and things like that. And for others, still, it might actually be working on ourselves, on our ability to self-regulate, to manage our emotions, our stress, and our anxiety. One of the absolute most important things that I personally work on for myself, because I know the importance in terms of the impact it has on my hormones and my ability to perform, on my mental and emotional performance and acuity, is nervous system regulation, right? And it's also one of the biggest things that I work on with my clients. Just learning how to self-regulate is so key. Having a balanced nervous system, a flexible nervous system, is essential, regardless of what you're doing, right? Because it is going to impact your ability to either burn fat or build muscle. It is going to impact your ability, to focus, to pay attention, to deal with challenging situations, whether that be at home with your families, in difficult conversations, in your relationships, in business, whatever that looks like for you. So it's absolutely essential. So with that being said, habits. We need good habits. And certain habits are easier for some people than others. And I'm going to illustrate this with an example. Certain things come very naturally to us. But there's also different times of day that we all thrive in, different times of day that we enjoy doing certain things in, right? So for some, they love to wake up in the morning and they're actually pretty invigorated. They're ready to go. They can exercise. They can move their body. They can go right into it, right? And for others like myself, I need a few hours to get rolling into my day. So a lot of the literature, a lot of the speakers out there, a lot of people in the self-help, self-development industry, they'll very often tell you first thing in the morning, as soon as you're up and going, crank out the things that are the most challenging, the most difficult to do. And I'm going to question that a little bit. I am going to challenge that a little bit because, and this was partly inspired also by a great podcast episode from Andrew Huberman. The guy is a brilliant neuroscientist. He runs Huberman Labs. He's got a podcast, he's got a YouTube channel. I highly encourage you guys to look into him, check him out. He did a whole little episode on what it actually takes on sort of the, in terms of your brain plasticity, in terms of altering your brains, in terms of actually using neuroscience to create habits, to either create habits or disengage from habits that no longer serve us. So he really is illustrated in a great way. I'm just going to condense it down into a quick sort of short version of it. I'm not even going to dive into everything he spoke about, but really the importance of maybe just doing things in 3 phases. So like sectioning your day off into 3 phases, from 0 to 8 hours, 8 to 16, 16 to 24, right? Those 16 to 24, of course, is when we're sleeping, when we are integrating all the new things that we're doing new information that we're processing. That's when things are getting consolidated. But those first 0 to 8 hours, which I'm going to focus on right here for a moment, is when dopamine and cortisol, adrenaline are highest, right? So during those first 8 hours of the day, that is the time to focus on creating those new habits that we find we have the greatest resistance to. Okay, you have 8 hours to work in. So knowing that, because again, we know, for example, that dopamine being a molecule of motivation, right? Higher levels of dopamine, we are more motivated during those 8 hours. Cortisol and adrenaline, these energize us. They give us strength. They give us energy to move forward, to carry out certain tasks, right? We wake up, we're fresh. Now, with that being said, you have to start to individualize things for yourself, because some of you may be able to wake up and want to exercise and move in that first 8 hours, in that first hour. For others like myself, I need a good solid, 2 to 3 hours to really kind of get into the swing of things. Individualize things for yourself. Get super clear on what you're doing. Break it down into steps, and then really write out your day. Like, structure it. Like, give yourself a time to carry out certain tasks based on your unique individual needs. Now, again, those first 8 hours are ideal for doing those new things that we are going to have the greatest amount of resistance to. Those following 8 hours, from 8 to 16, you're going to do things that don't require as much, but that also allow you to engage in, I want to say downregulation, right? So if you're, for example, trying to implement more meditation, more writing, journaling, and creativity, that second phase, those 8 to 16 hours after waking up, is when you want to do things like that. Those first 8 hours are probably ideal for more of the sympathetic activity, the more stressful, let's say, tasks, physically demanding, mentally and emotionally demanding. That's when you definitely want to do it. So those first 0 to 8 hours is when you want to fit those in. But again, 8 hours is a long period of time, and I want you to figure out what it is you can do for you that allows you to optimize that for yourselves, individualize it for yourselves, right? So break it down into those 8 hours and put them in. Ideally, for me, I love to wake up. I love to have some coffee, right? That will actually also sometimes be when I do some breath work, energizing breath work, right? Something like a Wim Hof style breath work routine, only because it upregulates the nervous system even more. So you actually get more of that cortisol and adrenaline, dopamine floating around. But then that's usually followed for me individually, just because it's also how I like to start my day, is getting centered and grounded. And that will be followed, of course, with journaling and meditation. But that's something I've already built into my life, period. And that is just an ideal time for me to do it. But that, then after a couple hours, I'm more into my flow. I'll go for a walk, of course. I'll get some sun in my eyes. Now my body's moving. And then I'll exercise. And now I've got some good momentum going, right? And that energy is actually what's going to then drive some of the other things, which is another key component of this, is that you want to be able to, in those first maybe like couple hours, do those things that are new, but also don't have such a high level of resistance. And why is that? Because when we carry out and fulfill certain tasks, right, the somewhat easier ones, we actually get another dopamine hit, which motivates us to do more. Okay, so for example, if exercise is just super, super, super hard and there's just so much internal resistance for you, that's fine. Don't make it the first thing you do. Contrary to what a lot of what you'll read in the literature and hear out there, maybe don't do it first thing, right? But actually give yourself a nice little wind up for that, right? Carry out some smaller tasks that are very doable, very feasible, and that allow you to complete them and then get that extra dopamine hit, which will then give you more motivation to carry out that thing for you specifically that may be something that you have a lot of resistance to. So take these tips, take them into account, really try to play with it, implement it. Again, the whole point is to individualize these things for yourself, for your own unique needs, your life, your goals, your lifestyle, the things that you value. focus on that and really implement it in a way that's going to be conducive to you moving forward in the way you want to, right? Again, it's about laying the groundwork, laying the foundation, creating the habit of building better habits. How about that, right? So I'm going to leave you guys with that for today. Hoping you are off to a great start the second week of January, guys. Looking forward, really truly looking forward to seeing what you all create with your lives, whether that be in business, whether that be in terms of just your health, shifting your movement, shifting your nutrition, whatever that looks like for you, whatever it is you're creating. I'm excited for you guys. With that, wishing you much love, and until next time, peace out.